Hey everybody, welcome back to Rusty Wrench Restorations. Got something a little different for you today. Instead of working on some rusty old tractors, we're gonna play with some new shiny ones. So yeah, sit back, relax, and let's see what we got in store for today. Alright, so today we've been invited out here to the hickory section of Chesapeake, Virginia. My good friend Tony, him and his family have been farming for generations in this area, and they've just continued to grow and grow and grow their business, and as you can see, they're doing quite well. So anyway, I've been trying to collaborate with Tony. I mean, I don't know, probably for the good part of a year now, just trying to get our schedules to match up to a time when he was harvesting or planting or something, just to kind of get him in the limelight and show all of you what it takes to be a farmer. You know, I mean, you know, every job in this world is important, whether you're a school teacher or a fireman, military, farmer. You know, everybody is a piece of the puzzle, if you will, and everybody's job is important. But a farmer, man, I think we just don't really realize how much work goes into getting the food onto our tables every day. You know, I mean, these guys are up before the sun. They work hard all day. They're you know, finishing work at dark time. You know, and then even on their days off, if they have one, they're constantly looking at the weather, stressing about crops, worrying about, you know, equipment breaking down, servicing, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. So you know, agriculture really is like one of the most important industries, I think, worldwide. I mean, not even just here in the United States. You know, it's been since the dawn of time, civilization, right? People have grown and planted food for survival. You know, so these guys and their job and their profession is quite literally the threads that build the fabric of America. You know, they're the DNA, literally, of human civilization. I mean, without food, we're nothing, you know? So anyway, today we're gonna have the opportunity to watch Tony and his family harvest. I think today we're harvesting soybeans. So these huge case combine here. He's got some other equipment. So we'll see the harvesting efforts that get put in, the work that goes into preparing to harvest, right? So all the equipment obviously needs to be serviced, checking fluid levels, greasing fittings, making sure that the equipment is safe to operate for the day. And yeah, we'll go from there. I love this stuff. You know, I'm a John Deere guy at heart. I bleed green, but this is amazing. I mean, this is just awesome. Who doesn't think this is cool, you know? So you know, I really don't know how a combine works. I mean, I understand it can harvest crops, right? Depending on the header, soybeans, wheat, corn even, if you have a corn head on. I get all that, but like how it actually comes in, processes, and comes out as, you know, the waste material and the product that you're harvesting, like, I really have no idea. So hopefully we'll learn about that. We'll see this equipment in action, and maybe even get a little ride along in the cab and see what it's like to farm from inside the belly of the beast. So again, I appreciate y'all watching. A little different content from what we normally do, but honestly, I think this is pretty cool. So we might see more of this if this is something that you guys like. So I have no idea how long this is. Tony's on his way. They'll be here shortly. But holy crap, this thing's huge. I mean, it's just amazing. If you look, I don't know if it's in the frame, but he's got another tractor with a wagon, and that wagon is specifically designed just to carry the head unit of this combine. Because obviously it's way too wide to drive down any road that you would normally travel on. So to think that you have to have, you know, separate transportation just for different components of your equipment is mind-blowing, you know. And this thing is huge. I mean, it's huge. So yeah, this is a case 120C, and it's got a L630 loader on it. Front wheel assist, full wheel drive for you city folk. Pretty cool. It's got a nice size loader. I know nothing about these tractors, so I'm sure Tony will shed some more light on these, but I don't know their capabilities or capacities or anything like that. But so I guess we'll learn together. And then this behemoth over here, Case International Harvester 8250. So I don't know if that's their big model, small model, medium, but sure the hell looks big to me. I know that. Here comes the man, the myth, the legend. Get in the shadows to get you a little bit better view. Geez, he just keeps bringing bigger stuff. That's a Case 340. And I'm assuming that's the hopper that we're gonna put the soybeans into from the combine, and then he can maneuver that over to the trucks and whatnot. So, all right, so you're gonna have to bear with me with the sun. Either the sun's in the camera and you're not gonna be able to see, or the sun's gonna be in my face like it is, and you're gonna see me squinting. But yeah, so this is a Easy Trail grain cart, and basically the combine will harvest the soybean. It'll process it in its internals and dump the soybean product into the grain cart. And then so this tractor basically, the combine has a hopper inside that'll hold the material, and then when it starts to fill, they can transfer from the auger of the combine into this grain cart. Once this grain cart gets filled, the combine can keep processing more material, and the grain cart can drive up closer to the street. And let's see if you can see over here, way over there, there's a tractor trailer, and they'll transfer the product into the tractor trailer, and then I think my camera's probably messed up, and then they'll send that off to the granary. I don't know. We're gonna find out. I don't have all the terminology for this, but I have a feeling we're gonna learn today. Mr. Taylor here, he's a good dude, and he's gonna teach us a lot. So I'll see what's next. All right, let's. I'm gonna lift you up and take a little look-see in there. See what it looks like inside this grain cart. What'd you see? I don't know, because I ain't seen it. You saw it before me. All right, give you a kind of a closer view here of this header. You can see down here on the bottom, you basically have a cutter bar. It's like the old sickle bars that we'd use to cut grass, where, let's see if I can do this while holding my phone, where the teeth would cut back and forth, just like a set of barber clippers, really. So basically this cutter bar will cut the stalks of the material, and the material, the soybeans in this case, will fall back onto this conveyor belt. This conveyor belt moves the material to the center. Bring that over here. And then there's another belt here that brings the product up into that auger. That auger is what feeds it up into the machine. And then on the outside here, you got these teeth that basically kind of comb through and continue feeding the material in. I guess it prevents it from the cutter bar pushing it forward. So I'm assuming it helps kind of just keep everything fed into the cutter bar, onto the belts, and ultimately up into the auger to feed the machine. He gets all his equipment bought and serviced from B&S Enterprises in Elizabeth City. For those of you local, know who that is. And B&S was previously owned by a good friend of mine, Myron and Tracy Hoffler. Their family owned that dealership and business for a while, and he has a huge, extensive Farmall and International collection, which there's a YouTube video out there on it right now. I believe the YouTuber's name was Farmall 51. I could be wrong, but anyway, I'll probably put a link in the description of this video for his video, but he goes through their whole collection and kind of documents it and shows what they have. They have some amazing stuff, and they're usually out at all of our plow days. If you go back and look at my plow day video from Indian Neck Farms, they're out there with the big articulated tractor, and I don't remember the number of it. Sorry, Myron, you know I'm a John Deere guy, but they have just awesome equipment, and they're like the best people in the whole world. So I met him a few years back. I had sold him a Farmall Cub, and we ended up doing some trades. I think I ended up selling him my Lindman at one point. Let me turn so the sun's out of your face. But yeah, I'd sold him my Lindman crawler, farm-all guy with a John Deere bulldozer. But he really wanted it because he knew its history and importance and everything. So anyway, he had it for a while, didn't really do much with it, and I wanted it back. So I did some trades with him. I ended up restoring another farm-all. Actually, it was an International Harvester Cub. So the later version, it was yellow and white instead of the red. It was a 76 model. I think I traded him that and like a Cub Cadet original. So yeah, was able to get the Lindman crawler back from him. So, you know, again, just really good people. It's just kind of neat to see people of like mind, you know, same businesses, local area, supporting local businesses. And that's it. So, all right, we'll see all this working later. But here you can see on the left-hand side, that's the other belt bringing material into the middle and up into the auger in the center here. That auger will pull it up through this chute. This is the area underneath the cab. And it brings it into this rotating drum back here. All right, so this drum will be spinning, and this drum is where it basically beats and separates the soybeans from the plant material that's on here. So here inside you can see some of the raw material. So you still have the stalk with the beans and the shells, and you can see that it uses this this grater teeth inside. You can see some through here a little bit better. And it basically, you know, beats the product around inside here, and the material that you want, the soybeans, are going to fall to the bottom. As you can see, there's lots of dust and chaff or straw, I guess. So there's things that get built up. So there's a lot of maintenance involved, keeping everything clean and lubricated. So anyway, as the soybeans get beat out of there, they come in here and they fall into this drum area that, from the way I understand it, it shakes and vibrates, and they're kind of moved at like, I don't know, like at an angle, like you're siding on the side of a house if you looked at it this way. Anyway, that's gonna start pushing the product back. And when I say the product, I mean the soybeans. And they're actually just these little balls, like miniature peas. So those go further back, they get into these fingers, and it really starts to separate any of the other trash from the product. And you can see in this back corner over here, you can see some light coming through. Eventually the straw and chain and everything gets pushed out the back. So the product then ends up dropping down and going into this metal chute right here. And this is an elevator that's gonna bring the product up into this hopper up here at the top. So pretty interesting to see all this stuff, you know, and to see how everything works. There's just so many intricate things, you know, and different from the tractors that I work on and restore, besides obviously the size and complexity. But, you know, you can see that, you know, this new age stuff is all electronic, computer driven. I mean, tons of wiring harnesses and hoses and, you know, cannon plugs, and there's just so much involved in it. So anyway, as we back out here, you can see that elevator that's going to bring the soybeans up to the top to go into the hopper there. And then down here in the back would be us looking back in the front. You can kind of probably see the bottom of that drum there, and then all these shaker plates that come through and get all the straw and mess that you don't need out. It'll come down this little chute, and it hits this impeller, and basically we'll kind of just spread it out all over the ground, almost like a salt truck would in the wintertime with sand or salt. And it just kind of gives you a nice even mix, so you don't have clumped up hay and whatnot. That's kind of the rundown on this thing. So I'm gonna take a climb up there and look inside this hopper, see if you can see what that looks like. If you look over there, the back side of this hopper, you can see that black tower coming out. That's the top of the elevator that brings the soybean product from the rotating drum up here to the hopper. So I just want to take a quick second. Mr. Antonio had to go help one of his drivers. They had an issue with one of the trucks. So before we get into the actual harvesting, you know, I had a lot of discussions with him this morning, and I probably should have had the camera running the whole time. You know, just amazing listening to this man talk about, you know, his passion for farming and his dedication to the community, and you know, helping others and trying to, you know, instill a sense of community and farming, and trying to bring, you know, younger people from the newer generations into this trade. You know, I know a lot of places around the country have 4-H clubs and ag classes in their schools and stuff. But let's just face it, there's some places that just don't teach this anymore. And unfortunately, it's becoming, you know, a lost art. You know, technology is great. I mean, you know, back in the 50s and 60s, you had, you know, 2, 3, maybe a 5-row corn picker. You know, now you're looking at 36-row corn pickers. You know, so we've boosted the efficiency of some of these things. You know, everything's computer operated, GPS satellite guided for both seeding, planting, harvesting, to maximize the yield and efficiency, right? And I understand all that, but sometimes I think we lose a little bit of the, I don't know, the soul of it, if you will. You know, to not forget how much work actually goes into this, and to forget the legacies of those who have come before us. You know, Antonio's grandfather put his blood, sweat, and tears into this very soil, this same land decades ago. You know, and it's been since passed down to him. He's been doing this full time for about 3 years now. You know, he grew up on a farm and he drove tractors and did things, but he was never a farmer his whole life. You know, it kind of got passed down, and when I say passed down, you know, that was another talking point that we had. You know, his grandfather didn't leave him the material things per se. You know, he didn't get all the equipment. He didn't get all the land. He didn't get all the monies that were involved in that, you know. So he didn't get those material things. But what he did get was the knowledge and the work ethic, the drive, determination, and self-empowerment to basically start from nothing all over again and continue his grandfather's legacy in his honor, which to me tells the whole story. I mean, like, we could end the video here and that's all you really need to see. I mean, the equipment working and stuff is cool, but it's the story behind it to me that I have always found intriguing. You know, he's just a super hard-working guy, do anything for anyone, and just wants to, you know, continue this trade on to further generations. You know, so anyway, you'll see throughout the day. You know, I'm sure we'll go through some of this equipment, and you know, he walked me through kind of how some of this stuff works. So, but anyway, you know, there's a lot of people out here that kind of do the work on the sidelines, and you don't always see it happening. You know, we had a gentleman stop and say, "Hey, I always see the equipment here, but I never see anybody." You know, there's a crop one day and then it's gone the next. You know, and it's like a farmer ninja. You know, like, he comes in and does the work and moves on, you know, like a honeybee pollinating flowers. He's got land leased throughout the whole city. I mean, acreage upon acreage upon acreage. Even in Virginia Beach, he farms that land. If you're from the local area, around on the base at Oceana, you know, he takes care of all that croppage there. So, you know, it's just amazing to see someone else's trade, someone else's job, and how much blood, sweat, and tears literally get put into this. So, and all of it, like, not for riches, you know. You know, he doesn't have millions of dollars and cruising on a yacht down in the Bahamas, you know, as much as he'd like to. But he goes to bed every night with that self-satisfaction, knowing that he's put in a hard day's work, and provided food for you and for me and our families for generations to come. All right, so let's take a minute to talk about soybeans, because until today, I've never even touched a real soybean before. So this is what soybeans look like. Basically grown on a stalk. To me, it reminds me very much of a miniature pod of peas. You know, you got a pod and there's several seeds inside, and it's got like a fuzzy, furry texture to it. It's kind of interesting. So anyway, like we said, this machine, the combine, will cut these stalks at the cutter bar. It'll go into the drum. It'll, you know, beat all these seed pods off. It'll open up the seed pod and give you these soybean seeds inside here. So what Antonio taught me today, which I thought was pretty neat, was we had a little bit of a frost this morning, and there was some moisture on the ground. And you know, at the end of the day, these crops get harvested, one, for the crop, for the people, but also, you know, this is his business and he is a businessman, and you know, you want to try to get the most bang for your buck. You want your crop to raise the highest yield. You want to get paid the most you can for the amount of work that you've put in, which makes sense. I mean, any of us would do that. So we started talking about kind of some differences, because again, I know nothing about farming. Let's be honest. I restore old tractors because I think they're cool, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about soybeans. So anyway, we got to talking about moisture content, and there's lots of numbers involved, and there's ultimately a science to it. I mean, it's really pretty technologically driven as far as you know, what the granary is going to give him or pay him depending on the crop. So obviously, the better the crop, the better the payout. So you know, you want to try to optimize that, and there's certain things that these farmers do to ensure that their crop is ready to be harvested. So when we came earlier today, there had been a frost early this morning and everything was kind of wet. So obviously in that aspect, the moisture content was higher. And you could come to these plants, and one of the things that Antonio showed me is, I'll just take one of these for an example, and I'll just pick one off. So basically he said you want to squeeze the pod, and I'm going to put this closer to the camera to see if you can hear it. You hear that snap, that crackle and pop, kind of Rice Krispies? That lets you know that this seed pod is ready to be harvested. It's dry. This morning when we did this, that did not happen. We would squish it from the side and it would just squish. It wouldn't snap, crackle, or pop. And he said the moisture content was too high and they were not ready to be picked. The other thing he showed me is, here we have 3 of these soybeans, is basically to put one in your mouth and bite on it. This morning, when we put one in and bit on it, it kind of mushed down, not like clay, but it was soft. There was no distinct crunch or snap. And he told me that really it should feel like you're biting into like a peanut or a cashew. So let's see if that's changed. A little bit. I don't quite have the snap like I would with a cashew, but it's definitely harder now than it was this morning. Got a very distinct taste too. So anyway, he said we'd probably be starting harvesting around noon or so within another hour or so. But you know, you want to make sure that you harvest it at the right time, because you'll get penalized if you go to the granary and they check the moisture content of the beans prior to unloading them, and if the moisture is too high, you'll get docketed, and if it's too low, you'll get you know, not fined, but you know, you won't get that sweet spot in the middle, you know. So it's kind of like anything else, like think of Goldilocks and the 3 bears that are porridge, right? You know, one's too hot, one's too cold. You want it in the middle where it's just right. So that's what we're aiming for today. So, and soybeans can be used for tons of things: cooking oil, hair products, greases. Make them into, you know, soy burgers, right? So if you have you know, vegetarians or non-meat eating people, then I guess this could be your next hamburger. But you know, so yeah, wide variety of products. You know, I'm no expert on it. By all means, if you're really really that interested, just hit that Google button and check it out. But I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing this, and hope you enjoy this video. Alright, ain't nothing in this world free, so Antonio's going to get his driver. I'm kind of sitting around, nothing to do. He took the time to take this cover off to show me the drum, so the last thing I'd want is to forget that this is like this and have something happen, so I'm going to try to install this back for him here. Doesn't look too difficult. Definitely a little dusty. It's alright. It's all part of getting the job done. So I think this piece slides in here and these latches come down. Alright, that looks right. And obviously this door has to shut. I'll probably open it again to check everything, which I highly recommend, but Dang, does that count as my first combine maintenance? I think so. Well, Antonio told me that his grandfather would always pick up any of the stray pieces that got left behind. And there's one over here. And he still ain't back yet. As you can see, I'm sweating, getting my workout on today. Oh man. And a penny wasted is a penny not earned. So I figured while I'm here waiting for him to come back, we'll earn some pennies. You know, he's a friend of mine. I'm committed to seeing him succeed. I know he'd do the same for me. So we're collecting some soybeans. Look at that. Jeez. Mechanical combine myself. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. I couldn't tell you how much is there. Bushel, half a bushel. Peter Piper picked a pepper. I don't know. Steve sweating. I know that. So yeah, it's just some of the stuff that gets left behind. Pick it up. Gives me some exercise. Lord knows my fat ass needs it. So yeah. Here's a quick little comparison. The soybeans on the stalk. You can see the stalk itself and the bean husks are fuzzy. Here's some that I've picked off the stalk. Here's a open bean pod with some beans in it. I've been finding anywhere from 2 to like 3, maybe 4 beans per pod. And then these are the actual soybeans themselves. So, you know, I did ask Antonio, I don't have my good microphone on this thing right now, but I did ask Antonio, I said, hey, you know, you harvest the soybeans, do you set aside a certain amount so that you can use those beans? Because these beans are the same as the seed, right? Like you plant the bean and get the seed. But anyway, do you set aside like a reserve so that you can plant them next year? And he said, oh no, like, I guess that's an illegal thing. You cannot plant a crop, harvest it, and save set amount of that crop for reharvesting the next year, because, you know, at that point you're self-sufficient, right? And you kind of cut out that middleman being the seed distributor. So yeah, he said that's highly illegal, and you can get fined, and like, I don't know what the limitations of it are, but yeah, you cannot grow your own crop, harvest it, and save some for replanting for the next year. So I thought that kind of crazy. You know, I guess that's the society we live in. You know, you have to protect to make sure everyone's business can stay in business. But yeah, I just thought that kind of a little interesting tidbit that I had no idea about. So yeah, the more you know. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're doing, here's where I'm parked at right now. In this field is where the equipment is that we've been looking at this morning, and he's already harvested this area here. Today we're going to do this field over here where this large tree is, and eventually get over into this larger area of the field. And as you can see, just by nature of the area, lots of homes here. Now if I scroll over here, you can see a lot more farmland, and we used to actually ride our ATVs around this huge loop. Tons of farmland over here. You can see where it used to be farmed. It's all trees now. I'm sure eventually it'll get logged and hopefully farmed again. But you know, lots of acreage out here in this area of Chesapeake. So anyway, that's where we're at. That's where we're going to be farming today, and let's see what we can get done. So part of the pre-startup maintenance that Antonio is going to do is he's going to open up all these side covers here, and basically he's got a big gas-powered leaf blower, and he's going to blow out all the dirt and chaff and dust and everything, so that you know, ensures good equipment operation and proper maintenance skills, if you will. So it's going to get a little dusty, so we'll stay off to the back and watch, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, right, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Antonio finally here today. He's gonna start this bad boy up and get some heat in the engine and see some action. There's a lot that goes into this before he can actually even, you know, get out and start cutting and gathering the crop. I mean, as you saw, I went through and blew out everything with the leaf blower, checking fluids, tire pressures, belt tensions, and whatnot. So. There we go. Yeah, so with any machine, it's always good to start it up, let it idle for a while, get your fluids up to temp. You know, make sure any computer systems, I guess, that are on board have gone through their startup sequences and everything. But yeah, it's so much wear and tear to just start something and get going on it, you know. So we'll let this thing warm up for a little bit and then go for a ride. All right, here we go, inaugural test ride. So this thing's amazing. Antonio was just telling me about the engine. Lots of power. Everything's hydraulically driven. So lifting this cutter head up, the drivetrain, the augers, steering, everything is all hydraulic. And as you can see, he's got all nice display screens, monitors, AC, radio.
Man, they got Bluetooth radio.
Yeah, he got Bluetooth radio. He's got it made here. This is the bougie one.
That's right. I think that's what keeps me motivated to music.
Yeah. Yeah, back in the day, they had the old, you know, probably like a 12-foot cutter, and they had an open cab, and you were breathing dust all day, and the heat in the summertime, and, you know. And then I was looking back here, there's actually a window here. You can see back, and you can see all the soybeans in the hopper. It's pretty cool. So. It's like driving a building.
Oh yeah. So this is the executive cab.
Uh-huh.
So you got the office cabinets.
Oh, nice.
Beside you and behind you.
You signed my paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Now going over the ditch like that, does it automatically adjust the cutter head?
It does.
Wow, that's awesome.
It floats with the ground.
That's so cool. So as we were talking about earlier today, those fingers spin and basically pull the crop into that cutter bar. Correct. And you can see on the left-hand side here, the belt's pulling it into the center. On the right side, the belt's pulling the other way into the auger, feeding it into the combine. So pretty amazing.
So the tree takes the nutrients from the beans that's planted right there. So that's what happened there. The rooting system from the tree, it takes all the nutrients.
Oh, so that's why they're a little bit shorter.
That's right.
I gotcha. Now I know, like corn. Do you do corn as well sometimes?
I do.
So typically, if you look at the edges of the field, it's a little bit shorter, just because it's not maybe pollinating like the ones in the center. Is soybean kind of the same thing? It's got certain areas that are going to be more dense, depending on, I guess, temperature and moisture, everything.
Correct. And sometimes the nutrients isn't there. You can put it there, but if you got something that's gonna rob it of the nutrients, that'll do it as well.
Right.
See how the trees rob the
nutrients? Oh yeah, yep. You can definitely see they're a lot shorter.
So trees will grow up to, the roots will go up to 180 feet, sometimes up to 220 feet, depending on the tree.
Really?
Some of them go more than that, like the older oak trees. They can actually go as wide, as long as the football field.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Just wherever they got to go to find that source of water, huh?
That's right.
So now I'm assuming corn, you probably have some big problems with like deer eating the corn. Do they mess with soybeans at all much?
They actually like soybeans a whole lot better.
Really? No kidding.
They like the leaves when the leaves are younger.
Ah.
So that's one of the creatures you really got to worry about.
Right. Huh.
You got to worry about those, and you got to worry about the groundhogs.
Yep.
So you got a lot of different items that play a specific role in farming, but you also need some of the bugs for it to pollinate, to help the plant pollinate.
Sure.
So, you know, you can't get mad at it because it's all part of nature.
Right. And like you said earlier this morning, I know we weren't on camera, but you know, you said that you know, God provides everything that we need here on earth, you know, nature and you know, fertilizer and water, and you know, man has intervened to an extent to try to you know, increase yields of fields and whatnot, but you know, it was all designed to work naturally, and you know, sometimes you get a better crop than other years, I guess, but
yeah, but you know, the thing of it is that you got to roll with the punches.
Right.
You know, you got problems. You have problems like this. All these trees, all these different roots.
Right.
That's messing up right here. But guess what? There's nothing you can do about it unless you can knock all the trees. It's a true gamble. I mean,
sure.
People always talk about going to the casino. All you gotta do is farm if you want to lose your money.
Right.
You know. But if you got faith, you might miss that money. You know, for about 6 to 8 months.
Right.
But once it's time to harvest, all you have to do is wait and be patient.
Sure. Yeah, so like doing the tractor restorations, everybody will always ask me, you know, especially when I retired from the military, hey, are you going to do that as like your full-time job? And I said, oh, no, I don't make any money out of that. I mean, you know, if anything, sometimes you lose money, and you just do it for passion of it, you know, but
it puts a smile on your face.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
That's the main part. I mean, The reason I farm is because, you know, my passion is farming. I grew up doing it, and my grandfather, he told me, he said, if you want to make an honest living, be a farmer.
Yep.
You know, if you want an honest day's work and an honest day's pay, you don't get it right then, but
sure,
when it pays off, it pays off.
That's right.
So, you know, I don't have any complaints about farming. My biggest thing is, I just wish they stopped developing on our farm.
Yeah. You know, we talked about that, a couple buddies of mine and I, about like all the solar farms that you see now, you know, and you know, I can see where people are going, and they'd like to be a little more, I guess, energy dependent, efficient, you know, but you know, the unfortunate thing is that those solar farms are getting put in our agricultural land. You know, this is where we grow our food to feed our families, and now we have solar panels there. I recently took a trip out to Spain, and a lot of the bigger department stores there, like we went to an Aldi for an example, and the parking lot had solar panels in the parking lot. So basically, instead of ruining the agricultural land, you put the panels in an area that was already desolate. You had a parking lot, and it also served the purpose of, it kept the sun off people's cars, it kept their cars cool, and if it's raining out, it prevented you from getting so wet, you know? So hopefully maybe one day we'll start seeing some more of that, and strategically placing these things instead of in our food plots, you know?
So what I've talked to the city about is mainly why...
Got some spectators.
Why take the farmland when you can just use the woods?
Yep.
You're taking down the trees anyway to build housing and the solar panels anyway. So why not go in the middle of the woods and put the solar panels instead of taking the farmland?
Sure.
You know, my biggest thing is, if you keep taking the food source away, how you gonna feed your people?
That's right.
You know, if the farmers need the land to farm to grow the food for you to nourish your family, you know, why keep taking the land? I mean, my thing is, take something that's not being used. You know,
sure.
If you're destroying the trees to put up solar panels, or you're destroying the trees to build houses, why not destroy the trees and put your solar panels in the trees?
That's right.
You know, I mean, but the thing of it is, it's sad because even when you do that, you're taking away from the animals.
Right.
And then you're running the animals right into the people's homes.
Sure.
And they can't defend themselves from it unless they got a permit.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's like a no-win situation.
Yeah. I guess it just comes down to maybe everybody doing their part of trying to do the good old-fashioned reduce, reuse, and recycle, you know? Try to minimize the usage of things, try to reuse something, you know? I mean, we know family in the past, during Great Depression, you know, and they would save items and, you know, use them for a different purpose. You know, I remember growing up, my grandmother, when she'd open a can of tuna, if she didn't finish it, she would...
My insurance agent.
Oh, really? They would put the rest in a glass peanut butter jar, you know, and just save it for another time. They didn't have Gladware or Tupperware or anything. You just reused what you had. So,
but the thing of it is, people don't know how to do that. They got away from it because they feel like they too good for it.
Right.
You know, give me some leftover chicken or leftover pork chops.
Sure.
You know, leftover collard greens. Guess what? It tastes better the next day anyway.
That's right. That's right. Let that flavor soak in a little more.
That's right. You know, my thing is, once you got away from how we live to how we living now, then the government, not only just the government, everyone feels like, well, we could bait them in by selling them different foods or giving them different food sources. Well, the food sources that they provide aren't healthy food sources.
Right.
Right now we got kids that's obese. You know, we have people that's obese, and we're not doing nothing to solve that. The other thing is you have people that's here that's hungry, and they can't even afford to go to the grocery store.
Right.
You know, a carton of eggs is $6.
Yep.
$7.
And to eat healthy is expensive, unfortunately, you know.
Yeah.
You know, to go to McDonald's, you get the cheaper meal, so you feel full, but it's obviously not necessarily the best, you know, nutritional value for you. Hey, so it's funny, looking real quick here, not to change the subject, but what a different perspective from the top down. You know, when you look at these fields from a road or from the side, you know, you see it just looks full. And from up here to see the individual rows, it's pretty amazing to actually see how this stuff really does grow, you know. And what a clean sweep it leaves behind. I mean, like, really nothing. I'm assuming corn, because of the stalks, it leaves a lot more of the trash stuff.
A lot of residue, it does. But the good thing about it is it provides the nutrients back to the ground.
Right.
Same thing with the soybeans. It puts the fertilizer or lime that you use back to the ground. So then when you come back the following season and add more nutrients,
right,
it'll grab it all. You know, and the plant can survive.
Sure.
You know, that's the biggest part of farming, is being able to reduce damage to the soil, you know, and putting it back into the ground. You know, you also can over fertilize it, because that's the reason for doing soil samples, so that you know exactly what you're missing, and you're not adding that.
Sure.
You know, you're just adding what you need.
Right.
To make the crops grow and grow.
So that goes into like the science and technology of it too. Again, another aspect that a lot of people don't see is soil testing. You said you come out and you actually probe and you take temperature readings of the soil as well, right?
That's right.
And you know, we were talking this morning about, I think you had already gone, I was talking about the moisture content of the soybeans, you know, before you pick it, after it's picked, when you get to the granary. There's really a lot more that goes into it than just coming out here, you know. I mean, even myself, I'm naive to it, you know. I see farmers like you harvesting a crop, and it reminds me of cutting grass, right? You got the tall grass and the short grass, and there's a lot more to it than that. But it's amazing seeing the scale of something. You know, you look at this field here, you know, and in just one pass, how much has already been harvested. And, you know, then you compare that to some of these farms out in the Midwest that they actually hire harvesting companies to come out, and they'll have 15, 20 of these combines lined up row after row after row, and the trucks just keep turning through, you know. But that's what's needed, right? That's what's needed to sustain our country and our world. And, you know, so like as we said, the more we develop housing and put up solar panels and this farmland goes away, it's going to make it harder and harder to feed everybody, you know. So, and the prices will go up, right? Supply and demand, that always plays a factor.
But the thing of it is, supply and demand always gonna be a big part of it. The thing of it is us as people, we gotta know what's good for us.
Sure.
And what's good for our economy and what's good for us as people, what we need to supply us with instead of the nonsense.
Right.
If we can get everyone on board with understanding that Walmart and Harris Teeter and them places don't provide you food, they outsource it from the farmer.
That's right. Yep.
You know, the farmers take it to market, and then once they take it to market send it out to be reproduced, cleaned, and all that before they can use it into your cooking oils or your foods.
Right.
And you know, making soybean burgers or soy burgers, or
right.
you know, things people don't understand that the soybeans and the corn and that's your main commodity.
Right.
But we don't get paid back when we put into the crops. You know, because people don't understand the process.
Right.
I think once people really understand the process, they will understand that, hey, we need to invest in our farmers and let our farmers, you know, let them survive the way they're supposed to survive.
Sure.
Because if you look back, you know, when my grandfather was farming in the 60s, it was the same prices, between $7 and $8 for soybeans, and they can go and buy them a brand new truck.
Right.
For less than $4,000. You think you can go buy a brand new truck right now?
No.
At these prices?
Not at that price. I wish.
But I still don't complain because I love farming. It's a thing. If you don't love it, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have a passion for it, that's with anything. Not just farming. If you're not happy with your job, don't do it. Go do what you love to do. I wake up in the morning and can't wait to get down here.
Yep.
I don't care if it's for maintenance or just to harvest the crop.
Right.
I love getting up in the morning, coming to my farm, and enjoying nature. Sometimes I catch a couple eagles flying.
Yep.
I'll start the machine and try to get pictures.
Yeah. Well, they say if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life, you know. Now, as a farmer, I don't know as though you'd really agree with not working because you love it so much. I know you put a lot of hard work in, for sure. But yeah, I've seen that kind of same trend across the country, you know, watching other videos and other farmers, and it doesn't matter the crop. You know, sometimes these farmers are taking huge losses, but they know that they can't stop. They have to keep going because, you know, it's just like any other supply system. Like when COVID happened, when you break that chain, it's so much harder to get it started and going again, you know? So a lot of these farmers are out here working and they're in the red. They're not making a profit, but they know that they have to keep going because nobody else will, you know? So definitely give you lots of respect and props for that, you know.
I appreciate it because it's about time that somebody take the time to show what's really going on, to show what's really needed.
Yeah.
You know, farmers are needed. I don't care how you look at it. You might don't like to see us coming up and down the road, but how you get your belly food.
That's right.
How you get back and forth to work without a farmer.
Yep.
That's how you get your gas and your diesel.
That's right.
That's how you get your tires on your car. And, you know, it's a lot that goes into farming that really need to be understood so that people can understand that, hey, let's stop fussing with the farmers. Let's stop, you know, fussing over the road because the farmers actually have the right of way on the road.
That's right. Yep. It's funny, I see this huge clump of trees here in the middle of this field, and years ago my in-laws used to live down this road a few more miles down, and I'd always drive by here and admire the fields and the trees here, and like, you know, you just never know what life's gonna bring you. Like, who would have thought, you know, 20 years ago that I'd be in this same field with you riding in the cab of a combine harvesting soybeans, you know? Like, it's just awesome. It's crazy what fate brings you and where things turn. And so much, as you know, can change in a day, in a month, in a year. So, you know, you've got that can-do attitude, the work ethic, and even when times are rough, you know, the tough still keep going, and you definitely persevere through it. So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing the continued great things that you do and seeing your enterprise grow and become an amazing thing. You're definitely an important figure in the region here. You know, as you said, I think you said you had a meeting last night with the mayor of the city, and you know, they really appreciate all that you do for the community. So, you know, those are all valid, honorable things that, you know, you can go to bed at night knowing that you're doing good in the world, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the best part about farming. I mean, the best part of being notarized or being noticed is you put out good work and good things will come back to you.
That's right.
You treat people right and people will treat you right. So just to be, I'm honored to have you and the mayor and other people really acknowledging what's happening in the world.
Sure.
I think that it takes a village to raise not only children but human too, adults.
Sure.
You know.
Yep.
Everyone takes pride in what they do, but it takes a lot of consistency. That's why you don't want nobody to get close. See what they do?
Yeah, I saw that big branch.
And they chew it up and throw it right out the back. You'll never see it again. You know, I think the best part about...
I saw a golf ball down there. Somebody's been driving some balls in your field.
Listen, I have so many fields that have golf balls. I guarantee you we had about 10 buckets full of golf balls.
Oh, that's funny.
And I got tired of picking them up. And I said, you know what? Because I would pick them up and then they don't give them to the DAV because people like to go.
Sure.
And I don't want no money for I don't like to go. I like to farm though.
That's right.
You know, honestly, I just rather be out here because it's a peace of mind. And, you know, it takes peace to enjoy what you do. Sure. If you don't have peace in what you're doing, it'll never work.
Yep.
You know, and I enjoy seeing you with the beginning stages of your tractors and the builds. And then when I look back and you posted job complete, you got the little tractor sitting up there, I just sit back and smile and I say, man, that's what I thought I was going to do is with my antique cars.
Right. Yeah, Antonio's a big car guy, so that's his main passion. This is a secondary.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes you got to do one to support the other, right? So.
Well, actually, I gave the car stuff up.
Really, completely?
I have one Mustang left that I worked on, built the motor, built the transmission, built the rear end, and I finally, you know, doing this farming, picking up acreage. I don't have the time to invest in the car.
Yeah.
So the car been sitting about 8 months. I haven't started it.
Yeah.
Or anything, and I keep saying I'm gonna go get some racing gas and put it. I'm gonna start it up.
Right.
I ain't did it yet. And the car been sitting 8 months, but that was my true passion, cars. But the Lord told me, He said, I have a job for you to do, and I need you to do it. I need you to get rid of your vehicles, and I did. So that's part of listening to God's vision. It's not our vision.
Right.
Everything we do is not for us. It's to satisfy the Lord. So that's how I feel about it. Just give God what He asked you for, praise Him. And if you're in need of something, ask Him. It ain't gonna come to you right then, it ain't gonna come to you that same day.
Sure.
So you gotta pick around this in a deer.
Oh wow.
So you just pick up to it and then I'm gonna just
there's a whole deer carcass down there, old bones of it anyway.
yeah. But then you just pick what you can pick. Ain't no need to run it through the machine.
Yeah, you don't want antlers in your tires, that's for sure. So these big tires here, what does something like that run just for one of those, roughly?
I haven't priced one of these ones yet, but I priced one for my my sprayer.
Right.
And it was about $1,400 a tire. These bigger tires, they probably about $225 and $3 grand a tire.
Wow.
And then if you very specific on what kind of tire you want, like if you want a Firestone,
sure, or
a Goodyear, no, it's gonna be a whole lot more expensive.
Yeah.
So you know, it's like with farming, I would say with anything that you do, you can't be bougie.
Yeah.
Meaning, it's okay to get a no name brand tire.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know, it's okay to not be extravagant because guess what? You trying to make money. You're not trying to invest all your money.
Right.
In tires.
Sure.
Because you look at it, BKT makes a great tire.
Oh yeah.
People don't like it because it's a cheap name, but hey, guess what? Who am I trying to impress? I'm trying to get my work done.
That's right. Yeah, I've bought them for tractors before. I've bought them for ATVs. Never had an issue. Definitely beat everybody in price. So yeah, you know, there are some things in life that, you know, you get what you pay for, but there are other things where, you know, you can sacrifice that name brand and still have the same creature comforts of it. So
I'm gonna tell you this, and you're gonna laugh. I used to be one of them guys that had to have the Jordan, all the name brand jeans and shirts.
Now you got Gucci on. No, just kidding. Some Louis.
Some Louis. I take that. Actually, these are Kenneth Cole boots. Got them from TJ Maxx.
There you go.
I'm shopping on a budget.
That's right.
Who am I trying to impress?
That's right.
Take me for who I am. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. You know? Because if you keep living above your means, you'll never succeed in what you're trying to do.
Right.
And I'm here, I'm trying to succeed. I want to be an established farmer. I want to be able to continue to farm. You know, my prayer to the Lord every day is, Lord, I want to farm until I'm 90. Yeah. And then the other 10 years, I want to be able to relax a little bit. Even though I be old.
Yep.
But guess what? I can relax because I feel like as long as I keep treating my body right, I'll be okay.
That's right.
You know, as long as you know, stay dedicated to what you do, you'll be okay anyway.
Yep.
You know, I mean, life is what you make of it. Forrest Gump said life is like a box of chocolates.
That's right.
Well, I love chocolate, so I don't want it to melt on me. You know, but I just enjoy life, and my cousin tell me all the time, just see, because sometimes you gotta take a break. But guess what? I don't want to take a break.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna split the difference and try to straighten this up.
I got you.
That was on the curve.
I got you. So I guess with the soybeans, you know, there really isn't a rhyme to the reason. You can kind of go wherever. Is it the same with corn, or do you have to really kind of stay with the rows?
You got to stay with the rows.
Stay with the rows, yeah.
Soybeans, the head is so wide, and the circumference it'll pick up whatever you want it to pick up.
Right.
Corn heads, they got snouts, which goes right down the road.
Right.
If you cross over the road, you know,
start running over stuff.
Start running over corn.
Yeah.
You don't want to run over corn. That's your profit zone.
Right.
Soybeans, you know, is more forgiving. Wheat, a little more forgiving.
Yeah.
Certain cuts, certain farms, different farms, they have different cuts, different angles. And I didn't set the GPS where it can run on its own because I don't trust the trees. Right. So when I'm in open cuts, I set the GPS and let it go. When I'm in fields that got big oak trees like that, right, I run the combine myself. So now is it set up where, like, if you have a planter, the GPS knows where you planted, and then when it comes time to harvest, it kind of knows really where you should be as far as harvesting? So, because I've seen stuff where, like, it literally knows where exact seeds were put in certain spots, you know? So my thing is, I could have done that to monitor and chip out the SD card out of my planter tractor, right, and programmed it to this combine. But I didn't do that because, like I said, picking up acreage, yeah, you don't have the time to. I don't have the time because 90% of the time I'm by myself. Right. So what I've done this year is just set my AB line and let the combine go for itself. Sure. And it knows where to go. It knows where it needs to be. And you don't have to control anything. It'll control itself. Right. But I think I do just as good. I think I'm pretty straight. Yeah. You know, my granddad always told me, if you can't run a straight line, get off the tractor.
Yep, that's right.
So, you know.
That happens to us at plow days sometimes. You know, a lot of the guys that are out there are farmers, and they run this equipment all the time, and they've got dead straight lines, you know, and then you get the weekend warrior guys like me that get out there, and, you know, I'm all excited, and I'm turning around to look, and I'm doing videos, and next thing you know, my furrow's all over the place. Looks like I've been out there drunk driving. So,
well, I think it's all in fun. I think I'm gonna get my 4166 out there this year. That's my plan. I've been working on it, and so many people been adamant about me bringing it out there because man, that's a cool tractor.
Yeah.
Well, when my granddaddy bought it, I thought that was the best thing. I mean, we had 2 of them.
Right.
And I told my cousin, I said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and order 4 new tires. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And so far, all I've been doing is replacing hydraulic hoses, different lines. I've dropped the fuel tank, and it's just been a task.
Yeah.
You know, because the tractor sat for so long after my granddaddy died that I have to go through it. But I think that she would give that tractor a run for its money.
Right.
Horsepower for horsepower. Meaning, not saying it's faster, but as far as horsepower, as far as pulling power, that 4166.
Yeah.
She was a horse in her day. I buried one of my Uncle Magnums about 5 years ago, and his 4-wheel drive is a 8950.
Okay.
We just knew that tractor was strong.
Yeah.
Had a disc on it, and I buried it on Land of Promise Road. And I called my uncle. I was like, man, I'm stuck. He was like, you stuck? I said, I'm stuck. And he took and bought that 41 in there with a 30-foot disc. I hooked the chain to him. He told me, go ahead and put it in here, and I'm gonna pull you. And you go ahead and put your disc down in the ground so you can disc the tracks up. And man, if he ain't pulled me, he had his disc out in the ground, and I had my disc out in the ground, and he pulled me, and I was still spinning.
Oh wow!
But what people don't understand about the 4166 is it's almost like an articulating tractor.
Right.
It'll track outside of the front wheels.
Oh, okay.
So it won't go in the mud track. It'll make its own tracks. So that's why I wanted that tractor so bad.
Yeah.
Man, since that day, I just been infatuated by it. Like, you know, that was one of my grandfather's first 4-wheel drive tractors. Because we had the 1066s, the 966s, and the 806s, and 2 706s. And we had 2 806s. So my granddad had 2 of each tractor.
Right.
But out of each tractor, he had one with a turbo on it, one that was plain. One with a supercharger on it, one with that was plain.
Right.
So he was into horsepower.
Right.
And I think that's why I'm the way I am, because he always showed me how to overcome obstacles with, you know, cars, tractors.
Yep.
You know, you think because something old, it ain't worth nothing. And I think that, you know, I got so much of him in me that I look at myself and smile sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, man, my granddaddy did this.
Yep.
My granddaddy did this. So he showed me this. And I look at everything now and it's just like, man, it's so amazing. I never thought I'd be doing this.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the best part about it, you know, and then the fact that, you know, he farmed the same land, you know, and you're still keeping it going. You know?
That's been the amazing part about the whole thing, like being able to retrieve the land that he farmed from the 60s to now, and me being able to lease it. You know, sometimes I go home and cry, man, because it's like, man, if my granddad was here, he seen this. Yeah. You know, like he would fuss at me about this combine. He would be like, why you gotta have that extravagant combine? Why you gotta have that combine? You can go get a 1440, you can go get a 1660. Well, guess what? You can get a 1680.
Yeah.
But granddad, a lot of them parts are obsolete.
That's right. Yep.
So you gotta keep up with the times. If you can't keep up with the times, it's a waste of time.
That's right. And you gotta be efficient. I mean, we just cleared out this whole field in like no time. It was awesome.
I'm just blessed. I'm amazed. You know, like I said, starting the way we started, we didn't have any financial help. No one would even attempt to help us financially. And my cousin told me, he said, you stay at it, you're gonna be all right.
That's right.
And I just kept praying on it, Lord, this is what you wanted me to do. What more do you want me to do? How can you assist me with what I'm trying to do? Right. And next thing I know, I got a tractor coming. Yep. Next thing you know, we got a piece of equipment coming. And it's been so amazing that, you know, you got to take it and be in stride. I forgot the power. I forgot the power you picked.
Oh yeah.
I gotta get it. We're gonna get that too.
Well, maybe when you get up there, if you let me out, I'll stand over by the car and we'll video it going in. What you think? Sound good?
Sound good.
All right. All right, we ain't got too much action shots here, but we're gonna get Mr. Antonio picking up the pile we picked up this morning. Here he comes. That's a big boy coming down the street. You can see that that cutter is lifted up. It's got to get around some of the signs and mailboxes and telephone poles, and this is the part where he was talking about where people get frustrated and upset that he blocks up the road, but that's just part of what he's got to do. It's his job, you know. This is what makes it happen. This is part of it, you know. An inconvenience for 5 or 10 minutes of your time will make a big difference of making sure that he gets home safe to his family. So they have the right of way on a road. Make sure you obey that. And you know, you see that orange triangle, slow moving vehicle. Make sure you respect it, because this guy's got a family too. Technique in this, getting through a neighborhood with stop signs and mailboxes and kids running out in the street, people's cars. Urban farmer making it happen.
I'm crooked at all, it's gonna take the wheel and straighten it up itself. Alright?
Alright.
So I go to here, I hit straight, hit my A, that's my A. So you gotta put your AB line in, so I'm gonna let it get up a little bit, then I hit it. So I hit it now. Do you want that far off? Yes. And then let the steering wheel go.
Oh wow. So the AB is just a point, you know, from one spot to another,
To
and it
another
just follows
spot.
that tangent.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Man, see, I can let it go. I ain't gotta hold the steering wheel. I just gotta watch the head, make sure the head is not digging in the dirt.
Right. That's pretty
Let the
cool.
steering wheel go forward. Let it go for it though. So I left them little bit of veins because it's making this straight line. I think I drove pretty straight and they ain't leave a lot of veins.
You got nice straight rows.
Yeah. My planner has the same setup, so I really enjoy it.
Well, I think that's pretty much going to do it for today. I really do appreciate Antonio and Cy and Big Worm letting me come out and partake in the festivities today. So it looks like fun. It's definitely a lot of work. I've got a lot of respect for these guys and what they do, and so should you, because this guy out here right now is putting food on your table, and there's a lot of farmers out there that are doing the same thing. So I appreciate all the hard work they do. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully we can do this again sometime soon. So until then, I appreciate you watching. Hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free. Hit the like, hit the comment. If you like seeing this kind of content, let me know. We'll do some more. But thanks again, I appreciate it.